Welcome to This Week at Intuit.
Hello there and welcome to This Week at Intuit. I'm Scott Caplener.
And I'm Sarah Nixon.
We're on location for a very special edition. This week we're at our Menlo Park campus where we're hosting a special Diwali celebration. And you know what? It's kind of obvious, but we can tell by the noise, they're already getting down in there.
It's going to be a great party. But before we get too far into the celebrating, we should get through some of our top stories today. Intuit's first quarter earnings are in the books. For the quarter that ended October 31st, Intuit reported revenue of $647 million, an increase of 12% from last year, with a strong performance from the small business group. At the same time, Intuit reiterated guidance for fiscal year 2013, including revenue growth of 10 to 12%. CEO Brad Smith said the company would pay a quarterly cash dividend of 17 cents per share. You gotta love those dividends.
You know what? We're getting some pictures in from folks around the company that are growing their Movember mustache.
Now, word has it on the streets that Tucson, Plano, Athens, Canada, and now even the UK are growing mustaches to raise awareness for men's health. Shouts out to Norm, Chris, Smith, Michael, and Andy, leading the teams with over $16,000 raised. And that's Canadian, by the way.
Turning grapes into wine, no problem. Tracking bills, shipments, and taxes, that's a whole different story. In our Continuing for the Love of Business feature, winemaker Steve Brooks of Trust Sellers shares how QuickBooks helps him make sense of his business and put dollars back in the cash register. Trust Sellers is also our Customer of the Week.
People get into this business, wine, they think it's romantic. People come to Walla Walla for a weekend and decide they want to stay and never go back because why wouldn't you? It's a beautiful place, great food, great wine. What people don't know is besides a lot of manual labor, there is an incredible amount of paperwork. I'm looking at the numbers. You have to deal with the FDA. I keep track of every fermentation, the TTB. So we'll take the book with the State Liquor Control Board. It's only at $600. Time in the day to do everything. You have to deal with state licensing, for business licensing, for taxation, for Department of Revenue. You can get lost easily. I was a disaster. I had receipts everywhere. I would hand reams of paper to some poor guy and he would try to figure it out and I didn't know what I was doing. This is embarrassing, but I started a company and I had no idea how to run one. And for the first year or two, I didn't have sales to deal with because there's no wine to sell. You've made wine, you're aging wine. The money is only going out. There's nothing coming in. After I opened and started sales, I had a bookkeeper. I would just throw everything at him. I don't think he was doing it exactly right. I can remember going into meetings with bankers and they were talking to me and I would do this. And in my head, there was like a squirrel on I didn't know what they were talking about. I'm like, what? This is a what? A cost of goods? Oh yeah. I didn't know what was going on in my company and I had to figure it out. I use QuickBooks. I use QuickBooks now to figure out a lot of things that I didn't have a grasp of before. Cost structures and cost of goods, what's selling well, where it's selling well, what is retail versus wholesale. Yeah, I don't know how I survived before. What I like is that it's starting to make sense to me and I can see what's going on in my business with cash flow and people who owe me money and people who I owe money. It gives me, I don't know if roadmap is the right word, but it lets me know where my company is at. I can use all the data that's stored there to figure out what's going well and what's not, where I need to focus my attention that day or that week, where sales aren't going well. Imagine if you had not just 2 tasting rooms, but 10 distributors out in the world who sell your wine. and you have to keep track of all those people, some of which you may not talk to but once every month. You need to keep track of what's going on in Minnesota, in New York, in Calgary, in Wisconsin, in Portland, and it helps me to do that. I can remember when I worked for my dad, he had a bookkeeper who was full-time. She had a set of books, accounts receivable and accounts payable. Everything was done manually with a pen. I can't imagine how much time I save. I mean, it's not quantifiable because it's impossible to imagine. I have a bookkeeper, she's not full-time, but she does everything for me, and without QuickBooks, I don't know how you would do that. I can give you a better example. My bookkeeper doesn't live in Walla Walla anymore. She lives in California. I fax her my invoices. I email her back and forth. She does my payroll with Intuit. She sends me checks, I print them out. We work together even though we are hundreds and hundreds of miles apart. How would you do that with books? I have no idea. I'm essentially one person, even though I have employees, but here in Walla Walla, I'm one person. I don't have time every day to look at QuickBooks. I sometimes deal with what's immediate, whether it's shipping wine, selling wine, making wine. So I don't look at it every day. I wish I had time. I'd be better if I could. The company would be better. I still don't know what I'm doing, but at least I'm organized about it.
If taxes are your thing, have we got a job for you? Intuit is hiring tax advisors to support TurboTax customers who need a little help. It's a full-time job complete with benefits working through the tax season. And you get to work from home. If you're a CPA or enrolled agent looking for some extra income, check it out at intuitcareers.com.
I think it's time to get back to the Diwali celebration. What do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I will take any chance I can to get dressed up, and if I do say so myself, I think blue is definitely your color.
Oh, thank you very much. You look wonderful. Shall we?
Let's go. Tell us a little bit about why we're here today and what Diwali means.
We're here to celebrate Diwali, which is one of the most important Hindu festivals of all. It's called the Festival of Lights.
It's an amazing time for Indians, for the whole world to celebrate together. I think it's great. I got a henna tattoo. Nice to watch the celebrations, different cultures and stuff.
For Intuit to kind of celebrate that, it means a lot because it kind of lets us get in touch with our cultural roots at work, and that's not valued everywhere. So it feels great to show everyone what we care about.
Well, that's it for this special edition of This Week at Intuit. Sarah, thanks a lot for joining me.
You're so welcome. Happy to do it.
All right, be sure to watch an abbreviated replay of For the Love of Business, chat between author and business journalist Valerie Coleman Morris and Jules owner Jillian Knox. That's next week. I'm Scott Caplener.
And I'm Sarah Nixon. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
This is the Intuit Network.